Warning: the Federal Communications Commission has determined the following content to be emotionally harmful. Snowflakes should not view this content under any circumstances, even if supervised by a G.I. Joe, Navy SEALs, Army vet, or someone with good common sense. The views and opinions expressed, including the depictions of persons of color, corrupt politicians, white people with or without a tan, haters who have yet to brush their teeth typing angrily in the comment section with hot breath syndrome, do not reflect any official policy or position of the U.S. government. This program contains graphic language, dark comedy, unique intelligence, creativity, a high credit score, and high blood pressure when triggered. This program has also been accused of racism, violence, misogyny, mansogyny, feminism, MGTOWism, defacement of celebrities, and of course, being a bully. Welcome to Thought Crimes.
Oh God, all right, I'm ready. This is incredible, this is sad. Ladies and gentlemen, this here is Alex Jones, and they got him. Joe Rogan has to apologize. He has to kowtow to the left. The leftist corporate-driven media agenda. But this is what Joe Rogan gets. I warned him. This is what would happen if you played both sides. Now at the time, ladies and gentlemen, when they were taking me off of the airwaves everywhere, I mean, they moved in from me simply telling the truth about this plutocracy, this kleptocracy, and all of the illegal, you know what, I'm going to, let me stop. I cannot, this is so much, so fast it's happening. I mean, I'm getting documents, emails, my team is on it, we're being received information, so let me just simply roll what I told Joe Rogan years ago, what would happen if he continued to play the both sides. Pick a side!
No, Joe Rogan and Bill Maher, they're all smarter than you, big man. Because, they've played both sides, but now they know who's going to win.
Hello, friends. I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I've ever had to talk about publicly. There's a video that's out that's a compilation of me saying the N-word. It's a video that's made of clips taken out of context of me of 12 years of conversations on my podcast, and it's all smushed together, and it looks fucking horrible, even to me. Now, I know that to most people, there's no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word, never mind publicly on a podcast. And I agree with that now. I haven't said it in years, but for a long time, when I would bring that word up, like if it would come up in conversation, instead of saying the N-word, I would just say the word. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing. Like that context was part of the clip we were talking about Red Fox, how Red Fox said that word on television in the 1970s, and how times have changed so much since then. Or about how Richard Pryor used it as one of the titles of one of his albums. Or I was quoting a Lenny Bruce bit, or I was quoting a Paul Mooney bit, or I was talking about how Quentin Tarantino used it repeatedly in Pulp Fiction, or I was talking about how a Netflix executive, ironically, used it because he was trying to compare it to another offensive word, and he said it out loud, and they fired him. Not calling anybody or just saying the word out loud. I was also talking about how there's not another word like it in the entire English language, because it's a word where only one group of people is allowed to use it, and they can use it in so many different ways. Like if a white person says that word, it's racist and toxic, but a black person can use it and it could be a punchline, it could be a term of endearment, it could be lyrics to a rap song, it could be a positive affirmation. It's a very unusual word. But it's not my word to use. I'm well aware of that now, but for years I used it in that manner. I never used it to be racist because I'm not racist, but whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you fucked up. And I clearly have fucked up.
What are you?
Dad's black, mom's white. Standard issue, pretty much.
Powerful combination genetic-wise, right? You get the body of the black man, and then you get the mind of the white man all together in some strange combination. That doesn't, by the way, mean that black people don't have brains. It's a different brain. Don't get.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Rogan being a corporate cuck. I've said this before. This is what happens once you apologize. I mean, it's literally like my failed marriages. It never stops. It never stops. And Joe Rogan was to represent what it means to be a proud, free-thinking white male in this country. And now look at him, apologizing to the blacks. The blacks that like to use the N-word themselves. Of course, I would never say it. At least, well, not on camera. I mean, that's what Joe Rogan made them say. Oh, we're recording. What Joe Rogan is doing right now is going to set the white race back 400 years. As white men, we have conquered. We thrive. We have the red Native American energy in our blood. I know I get out of hand and people say, well, you know, Alex, you tend to get out of hand and you've said some crazy things yourself. I would agree with him, and I actually blame it on the 0.1% of the koi that I have in my blood. We did a 23andMe, well no, we didn't do 23andMe because I told you all before, they harvest your DNA, they harvest your data all the time. But what Joe Rogan is doing, he has no idea. This is not going to necessarily be the cleanest broadcast, but I'm choking up right now because Alex Jones does have feelings. And Joe Rogan is a good friend of mine. I personally do not believe Joe Rogan is a racist. If he was on Planet of the Apes, ladies and gentlemen, then that's just what it was, the damn ape colony. And even with that, with the left focusing on him saying Planet of the Apes, just like in the films, unfortunately, those blacks are not necessarily Planet of the Apes because at least in the films, they say ape, don't kill ape. Black on black crime is at an all-time high epidemic while they're using the N-word to kill each other. So how can it be compared to Planet of the Apes when the apes themselves, ape does not kill apes? And we know the blacks have no problem killing each other, just like they're trying to kill Joe Rogan. Now, speaking of apes, we're going to be talking about thought crimes. Now, they are the true racists. From my understanding in internal reports and Trilateral Commission papers and George Soros funded Bilderberg Trilateral Commission's information has come out that they are in fact sponsored by the deep globalist state. Prince Solomon, I actually like his voice. I think he's a wonderful broadcaster. I actually think he's very funny. Sincere Ignorance, even though she's a black feminist. You know, I don't mind an aggressive woman here and there. But nevertheless, they are racist. And they're out here spewing this garbage, this propaganda against a good American citizen such as Joe Rogan. And they're out here tarnishing his name. They're acting as if he didn't have brilliant black minds such as Otep Jesus. That he didn't have brilliant black minds, or he's not looking to get brilliant black minds. And I actually gave him a suggestion that, such as Candace Owens. And he took my suggestion. This is how good of a friend Joe Rogan is. Because I told Joe Rogan, I says, you might want to include some of the blacks, not all of them. God forgive me, Dad. But I did tell him, if you want to kind of make sure you're protecting yourself, that you should bring along black people. And, brilliant minds, Otep Jesus, Candace Owens. We were working on getting with Sheriff David Clark. And then Joe Rogan distanced himself from me. And I warned him about playing both sides. He still had my contact. I mean, we still hung out. His kids still play with my kids. However, though, just publicly, we could not be seen together. And that's progress. Because we're two white males. And we could not be seen together. And this is what I get on the blacks about. That is no different than your days of Jim Crow, the sundown towns. I've done my research about these sundown towns where certain blacks couldn't be seen after hours. Well, look, we're not racist because me and Joe Rogan cannot be seen together. So for you to underestimate me as a white male, alpha white male, and Joe Rogan is an alpha white male, not understanding what it is and what it means to be a black minority Planet of the Apes citizen. You have us completely wrong. But I warned Joe Rogan, stop playing both sides over. I need some beef jerky. I told him over and over, you are going to fall into a trap where you cannot get out of. And interestingly enough, Joe Rogan is fighting for his life during Black History Month. I bet that makes the blacks happy. A white man who is an ally is now struggling in Black History Month. I bet that makes them happy, very happy, huh? The George Soros scums out there. I bet that makes you real happy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a white male, an Italian white male having to fight for his livelihood during Black History Month. Just think about the evil, the sinister, evil context of that situation. Think about that. That's so menacing. The Illuminati is at it. And they always like to send us messages with this. And I can see it now. The Black Lives Matter filth is really enjoying seeing this white Italian male having to fight for his life during Black History Month. Another John D. Rockefeller funded creation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna go and pick up my Bible, sit my children down and say we're gonna have to pray for our dear brother Rogan as a good judo Christian conservative male who's played both sides. And he's gotten burned in the process. And I will end on this very important poetic thought. Joe Rogan, a proud Italian white male, is being bombarded with leftist propaganda and being removed like another great proud Italian white male, Christopher Columbus. And look what they're doing with him now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all propaganda. Coming through your airways. Coming through your airways. You ain't gonna get me with that one. Well, my, oh my, oh my. Them corporate devils are doing a mighty fine job taking out one of their own. Mighty Joe Young. How does it feel to be treated like an ape on this planet? Now, can you believe this? God bless the soul of Harriet Tubman. Looks like an albino ape has been evicted from his zoo. And the only wish that I have right now, if I could get up on the albino primate, I would like to ask that monkey, how does this cage feel? Now, I understand that over 100 episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience has been deleted. But somehow, the other primates, the other gorillas in their zoos with their little feces everywhere, I can only imagine what it smells like. Somehow, the other ones are saying that this is a win, a win for freedom of speech. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if that's a win, I fear what your champions look like. A bunch of losers, like General Robert E. Lee. Now, this is Orwellian, not my word, their words that they created. This is Orwellian at its finest. Now, how could you be winning and losing at the same time? The prime definition of white mediocrity. Now, let's get into the meat and the potatoes of the situation. Even though I am myself on a plant-based diet, but we're gonna deal with it. Oh yes, we're gonna deal with this today. Now, Joe Rogan tells a biracial that somehow he has the body of a black man and the mind as if a mind of a white man would somehow be better than that of a black person. Well, Joe Rogan was still saying dumb things and tell me he had the access of the white man but the mind of a dumbass. And even before these white cannibals came out to consume the carcass of this ignorant descendant of another ignorant Italian conqueror, Christopher Columbus, Joe Rogan was dumb before. Just think of the recklessness. Over $100 million and just carelessly saying whatever he feels like it. And somehow Joe Rogan did not understand the act of karma. Are you following me? But no. Our lovely sister Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, George Washington Carver got his peanut headed ass up out of here. Now, when it comes to freedom of speech, I didn't see all of these First Amendment and Second Amendment boys come out for me and Nick Cannon. In fact, they couldn't wait to get my black ass up out of there. Talking about deleting 100 episodes, and they deleted me, just like they deleted me from Private Frenemy, because they were pressured by the very same people that are crying now about protecting Mighty Joe Young Rogan. And that includes the left with the broken wings of Crime Bill Bernie. Hell, I almost got him confused for the colonel of KFC with his stooped over back and his hair frizzing out of place. Soon, how in the world does Joe Rogan lose his hair before Crime Bill Bernie? Now, because Joe Rogan has been a hooker on both sides of the track, I wouldn't be surprised if he signed some sort of reparation for him and his Joe Rogan podcast. And that's not coming from my black lips. It's also coming from that big fat country hick, Alex Jones. He said it himself. It wasn't my words. You can't follow me on that one. You can miss me with that. They telling on each other right now. Are you following me? You even had the other ape. I thought apes don't kill apes, but you had the other primate, the albino ape, the king ape himself, Alex Luciferian Jones. He got at Joe Rogan about his biracial daughter, as if he was shaming her about the black blood that's in her skin. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you all, they can't even trust each other. Are you following me? But according to Joe Rogan, based on his sick logic, she would have the body of Serena Williams and the mind of Sharon Stone. It's some sick times we're in, people. It's some sick times that we are in. Last thing I need to say to address the young ones out there and the people that are following us on this internet. I usually do not, and I repeat, I usually do not engage, associate, or collaborate with the likes of Thought Crimes. Their opinions are a little bit too mainstream for me. But to accuse them, sincere ignorance, Prince Solomon, and B. More of being backed by George Soros is a complete lie. Are you following me? Now, how can you say that when it is evident, when it is on record, that Joe Rogan is not only backed by his zookeeper, but also the Klansmen and the handlers and the Aryan and many of those white boys that come in and out of prison that completely hate black people, black skin, and the black flesh and our beautiful black spirits. It's an utter and complete lie. You have all of these political terrorists such as Roger Stone with his nasty looking tramp stamp tattoo all on his back. And he actually has to pay these women, and look at that. We need to investigate him for sex trafficking. Are you following me? Disgusting. You have Steve Bannon and his dirty head shoulder with all that flakes coming out of his hair like the mangy dog that he is. Are you following me? You have the Proud Boys with Gavin and his dirty flaky beard just dropping all on microphones, whatever podcast that he decides to visit. It's disgusting. These people are front and center. Are you following me? And they support Joe Rogan, and the people that support them are nothing more than political terrorists, ladies and gentlemen. So don't accuse Thought Crimes of doing anything wrong other than putting a boot on the necks of these gorillas and these albino primates out here that are cutting up with black people. And the day you see me supporting these pig-faced apes is the day their testosterone level increases. I'm out. Coming through your airways. Coming through your airways. You ain't gonna get me with that one.
Yes, welcome to the White Man's Burden. I am Jack Milton, and I, for one, cannot stand to watch a fellow white male being railroaded, coddled, and prodded over and over again because of his free thinking. That is what I admired about Joe Rogan. That is what I enjoyed about Joe Rogan. Him being able to use his connection and understand the aesthetics of his divine whiteness to bring on other men, real men of free thought. Joe Rogan had allowed the conversation of intellectual males to come along who, in any other space, would have been told to shut up. You're a sexist. You are a misogynist. You are a racist. Oh. But Joe Rogan was a vessel of freedom of thought, and I had respect for him. But that was until he chose, and I use that specifically, he chose to apologize to the sensitive, darker complected class. He chose to apologize to the old, decrepit hipster terrorists. These people had nothing to do today. The youth, especially the invigorated young white males, have been able to carry up the mantle that they had dropped so hideously in the 60s and allowed other movements and groups to progress with their civil rights. Now these old hipster terrorists have come back to consume the younger white males. Joe Rogan, and I am so disgusted with Neil Young. Generations eating generations, and you wonder why the white race has not been able to expand. It's not just our feeble genetics and some of our children. What happens when they eat with these diverse groups? Of course, the genetics are going to suffer. As I have written about in my book you can find on Amazon, The White Male's Burden. But these old white men have come back from the dead of society, the dead of the coffins of their favorite leaders, to come back and pull these young, invigorated spirits such as Joseph Rogan into the grave with them. I can only guesstimate how many minutes Neil Young has left. Also, with the CIA-funded campaign and Operation Blacklash, as I, again, with my team has been able to investigate, it is actually called Operation Blacklash. And it's no coincidence this has been launched during Black History Month. And then you have the Gloria Steinem baby, Joni Mitchell. Oh, I have so many things to say about her. She is one of the reasons why the white male family, the white family class has been destroyed. Because she has influenced, her and Gloria Steinem has influenced the white woman. But that is something for a later episode. This is all a CIA front, mind you. Again, it is Joe Rogan's fault for apologizing and kowtowing to the CIA-led Operation Blacklash. I will be releasing the documents, and if you want further information, of course, you can reach me by email. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, no white male is safe. And on next week's show of The White Man's Burden, we will be discussing these sleeper cells known on the internet as Black Twitter, or these Black YouTubers, and these Black tea bloggers. Notice they cannot find anything of their own. Remember, we had the Tea Party. Now they have Black Tea or Tea Time. Things of these natures, masquerading as entertainment, but also federally funded to promote their filth and their disgusting culture and propaganda. Again, they get to spread, and Joe Rogan is in the process of being canceled during Black History Month. This is Jack Milton signing off on The White Man's Burden.
We can't go to there. So I go, you got to go to one where there's Planet of the Apes, man. We're going to go see Planet of the Apes. So I look on the iPhone app, and it says, okay, take me to this one. And the guy goes, okay. I go, is that in a good neighborhood? He's like, oh, yeah. Guy barely speaks English. He takes us there. We get out, and we're giggling. Oh, we're going to go see Planet of the Apes. We walk into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa, dude. We walked in the door, and there was no white people. Planet of the Apes didn't take place in Africa. That was a racist thing for me to say. But you see what I'm saying. What I'm saying is...
Flies automatically stuck to your head.
Yeah, what happened is...
Under Siege could never find meaning in this denuded form of thinking and living, where all that you're up to is making rational decisions one after another. That's not a rich enough notion of experience or human life. So what we have is, on the one hand, this sort of Enlightenment instrumental reason that is for sure necessary for the sciences and so on. And on the other, the ways in which people today try to get meaning are just incredibly bizarre.
ABU, S.A., the system, it be so weak. Capital, globally, cronies, they be mad bleak. 100 rounds, 100 arms, comrade meet me in the streets. You know the vibe, you know the sound. Co-op, all them in the streets. Peace, God, setting my eyes on the moon. Wisdom big at me, I'm true. True and living, spatial, golden, just like the ratio. Rocket journal from J-Store, straight free, who's still paying though? 2.0 is just slavery. Forget them dreams, they'll watch it flow like some Drano. Down it goes all the way, all the way. Black, white, Latin, Asian, baby, break them chains. Hello, anti-imperialist, subversion, status quo, murdered it. Like it a lie, and that's on sight. Black God got like 2 on them. What you mean, try to blow a noose on them? Relax, doors get smacked though. From the door, what's the Wi-Fi? Battering ram like a DDR5. Land of the lost, yeah, live for the night. Boy, never tell no lie, no lie. Capitalism on sight, on sight. S.E., the system, it be so weak. Capital, globally, cronies, they be mad bleak. 100 rounds, 100 arms, comrade meet me in the street. You know the vibe, you know the sound. Co-op, all them in the streets. Why?
Hammers out, sickle up, throwing fist up, study what? Dumping with my lumping, study building, show improving, huh?
Hammers out, sickles up, throwing fist up, study what? Dumping with my lumping, just be building, show improving, huh?
The existential threat of global capital is tearing the social fabric of human futures and their complex communications. Here at Paid Reprogramming, Gilly S. Gilly and street philosopher, activist, and hip-hop graffiti artist, Chief Rocker Ruga, will discuss the ever-growing events and contemporary societal ideologies diffused through time and space. With most production and soundscapes provided by 90 Culture, as well as located at 90 Culture Studios. Humans all over the world must fight together for the egalitarian future they need in this ever-growing disconnected world.
Programming.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me.
Is that a challenge?
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Black folks are nosy. They have specials. Nosy specials. Why does a bee make honey? You ain't a bee. Why do you give a fuck?
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
If he dies, he dies.